Hi, my name is Terry Lynch. I'm the CEO of Power Nickel. Power Nickel is advancing the advanced nickel sulfide project called Nisk. It's in near Nemaska, Quebec, and we just filed our first 43-101, and we're looking forward to talking to you about that and our drilling plans for 2024.
Terry, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Difficult year for nickel last year. Was a little bit erratic, to say the least. How did you navigate the market last year?
As best we could, Matthew. I mean, I think we were like flat or up a little, which was, okay, I guess, relative to our peers. But I mean, the reason why we were able to stay flat or up a little was because we really just, I think operationally hit the ball in the park. We just advanced the deposit a lot and, got our first 43-101 out, got some major industry investment in. So we did a lot of great things operationally, didn't really get the rewards we thought we should get, but that's the market sometimes. And you just, at the end of the day in mining, there's good deposits that get paid and there's bad deposits that don't get paid. So be a good deposit is the moral of the story.
Right. I mean, you raised a bunch of money last year at various points, little small amounts as you kind of move things along. And again, recently. So you've obviously done a lot. So this 4301 tells us what?
Basically 7.2 million tons, about 2/3 of it in indicated, which is usually the reverse. So grade's decent, 1.13% nickel EQ. It's getting better at depth. The inferred section is like 1.5. We think that that's just a start. We only had one of our 7 holes that we drilled last fall. The other 6 are coming early this year, with assays. So that'll add to it. So we think we're, in north of that number today, of course. And we'd expect our winter drill program will, advance that considerably. And I guess what we're setting up for, we found that through using a new technology called ambient noise tomography, that there's a bit of a signature for our deposit. And that signature is basically where, that technology measures the speed of rock. So the ultramafic has 4,300 meters per second. When it drops off to 36 to 3750, that's where our massive sulfides were found, almost on a 1-for-1 basis. So we had done a survey of about 4 square kilometers around our deposit. So we found 4 other target zones that had the same signatures. So we're drilling those now. We're actually, the drills are turning on the first target and 3, which is about maybe 750 meters, kilometer away from Nisk main. So we're drilling that right now, and that'll be the focus of our winter drill program is to test these new targets and to follow up on our really rich PGM hit that we had as well.
Okay, now I want to talk to you, and I'm talking to a lot of CEOs about this. It's off the back of 3 tough years for junior equities, off the back of a really tough year for nickel in terms of people's interest in it, and we'll get onto some macro stuff in a second, is a lot of companies reassessing and reevaluating strategy, traditional strategy of Canada, drill the heck out of this thing, see how big it gets. It seems to be moving towards a case of let's try and see how we get this thing to some economic state now, i.e. get close to production rather than value creation. You've got high-grade nickel. You've got, the 4301 just come out. You're certainly, increasing that, especially in the measured indicated categories. Have you, or are you thinking about the strategy for your company? Because you've got to go through that growth phase. You've got to work out how to do it.
Yeah, so what we're thinking, we're not, it's not a situation where we could, go into a short-term production. We do a couple things. One, focus on Nisk. So we're spinning off our copper gold assets. So it isn't a drain yet. We can grow because there's value there. We're selling our royalty so we can turn that cash into less dilution at Nisk. And then we're basically looking to sell a 10% stake to industry. We've made, folks are aware of that. They're in our data room now. It'll probably take through H1 to conclude that. But there's a lot of interest in Nisk and in our deposit from industry, and we expect we'll conclude that. That type of capital would allow us to really probably run, the next 24 months in terms of exploration. And that would go a very long way to fully capturing the exploration upside of Nisk. So we've got some strategic plans. We're putting them in place, and that's our approach.
To explain that, so I'm sure there's a few versions on the table here, but sell to industry, forward sale, offtake, JV, what?
Yeah. So we're basically, what you got to do when your stock is down and when you're trading at what you believe is a fraction of a true value, is to say, well, how do I create value for my shareholders? So one of the ways to create value is create scarcity. So I'm going to sell 10% piece. It can come with an offtake if the investor wants the offtake, which most of them would. And I'm talking to consumers. So whether that be Korean battery companies or Japanese trading companies, those guys are all in the data room. I'm also talking with developers, whether that be the Glencores of the world or, those types of people. They're there. So there's there's a bunch of other guys as well. So there's a significant grouping of industry consumers, investors, or traders that want to get control of nickel, especially class 1 nickel in North America. So there's only going to be one piece that Power Nickel is selling, and we got a lot of bidders. So we're going to run a process. We're getting people in the data room now. The data room's there. Got the 43101. It's got the ambient noise technology research, so people can evaluate, come to their own conclusions on how that enriches our development, our exploration program. And of course, we're not looking forward to do it tomorrow. We're thinking this process is going to take through H1. So we're going to start to get results back on this drilling, which we expect to be positive. So all of a sudden, people are going to start to see this as we do, that this is going to be 20 million tons or 30 million tons or maybe more. So all of a sudden, that becomes a real trophy anywhere you look at it, and these guys will want it. So that's the plan.
Okay, so that's the plan now. And explain to me, because I no doubt you've had the questions thrown at you, and I will probably after this interview, is about you will be accused of giving away the upside. If you're talking about selling royalties, if you're talking about selling sort of non-core, if you're talking about selling 10%, you're going to be, people are going to say to you, well, hang on, you're giving away all of the upside. If you think it's as good as you do, there must be other ways here. So what were the considerations?
Yeah, so the royalty we're talking about selling is our copper royalty that we sold to Teck. So it's not related to Nisk, so that's just the monetization of that separate asset. I agree with you, we would not be selling a royalty on Nisk at this point. Selling a 10% stake with a some percentage offtake, 10, 20%, whatever. Yes, it does give up some of the future upside, but we're also carving off our arm and our leg selling equity right now. So there's a fine line. So we're doing this because we feel that would be the least dilutive way forward. We feel like we get several times more than what we were getting from the market. So in that respect, it'll be less dilutive to our shareholders. So we're always doing this because obviously myself and my family are the biggest shareholders. So we're thinking as an owner, what is our best way forward? For us, this seems like the most likely path to least dilution for our shareholders.
Right. Okay. And you think that's the best thing that you can do in terms of the non-dilutory, raises through, continual equity raises. Right. Okay. You've got a few things going on, and we've had a good chat or two in the past, and I note that you filed a complaint re illegal shorting. Do you feel that is affecting you, or do you think the kind of big pressures come through people's perception of nickel and the threat of Indonesia flooding the market with all the nickel we could possibly need?
No, honestly, I think our biggest single impact on the stock price has been the naked shorters. I have no doubt about that. And they suppress every move we make. And it's really criminal, and that's why we filed those charges, and we're going to be aggressive with dealing with that. Of course, we're impacted by the overall, nickel market and people's attraction to investing in nickel generally. But people also recognize that, we're 4 or 5 years away from production. So it's not the nickel market today. It's the nickel market, 4 or 5 years from now. And by anybody's stretch of the imagination, they realize there's going to be a shortage, especially of class 1 nickel in North America. So I don't think we're really been beset by, sort of the Indonesian flu, in nickel, which has impacted some people, certainly the West Australians that are in production today. Not our problem, but we think, honestly, the shorts have been the problem, and would like to, we've got some tactics that we're doing, like the spin out of the copper gold subsidiary as a private co. That will be very tough for these guys to to deal with, and that's part of the tactic.
Yeah, you bring up something interesting with regards to what's happened at Wiley, Mincourt, and BHP on the nickel front. I think that's slight overhang from the way that the deal was structured and the price at which it was done. It was done at a particularly poor time. So I don't think that's a reflection on the poor nickel market at all, on the Australian stuff. And I agree with you on the Indonesian front. I think any Indonesian project is production is going to be heading up to China. So there's a need in the West for this critical metal, and you guys have got to work out how you get this stuff actually out of the ground and into production and into the North American market for sure. And so if I look at 2024, at the end of it we're talking in December, what will success look like for you?
So the 2024, if we were talking end of 2024, I think would have expanded and successfully found another 3 or 4 pods, and maybe at least double our resource size, maybe triple, and showcase the market that this thing could be really quite big. And I think would have produced a feasibility study that shows a very high internal rate of return, like well north of 50%, maybe approaching 100%. So all of a sudden, this economic, ability to sort of go forward and finance this into a mine will be readily apparent to the industry and to the market. And that's what we'd hope to accomplish in 2024.
Okay, and talk to me about the share register now and what you think it might be at the end of next year, end of this year.
So we have about 149 million shares out right now. We've got about 28 million warrants that are out, and I would expect those to come in over this course of this year. So I'm not looking to do a lot of fresh equity. I'm looking to get these warrants exercised. So that's already built in our cap structure. So I think by the end of the year, we probably, that probably happens. And then we're talking about doing this 10%. So you're probably looking at getting to 200 million shares outstanding. But by then you were fully capitalized, really probably for 24 months. And that would get us to pretty much a full deployment on the exploration upside of this thing.
Right. Okay. And so I keep saying the final question. This is the final question. I couldn't help but notice the strap line on your PowerPoint, which people should go look at. The best nickel investment on the planet. Back that up. Last words.
Yeah. So basically, it's all about the asymmetric nature of our risk. Is that we're basically trading at or near our lows. We're probably from a nickel, high grade nickel. So again, I would differentiate ourselves, say, from Canada Nickel. Canada Nickel is a different animal. It's got a low grade deposit. It's going to take a big investment to put it in place. It sounds like they're pulling together the team to do that. The internal rate of returns in that will be at their own numbers show under 20%, but still could be attractive if industry invests in it. That's a different animal than us. I'm talking about where we're talking high grade nickel sulfides compared around the world. We are definitely the lowest market cap per unit of nickel on the ground. That's why I think our asymmetric upside is unparalleled, and we're, in my view, in the best jurisdiction. We're literally located off the highway, surface deposit, hydro go back across the street, 8 kilometers outside of Damascus. It's got its own regional airport. The Cree government's in full support. We got 2-for-1 in exploration financing in Quebec and 2-for-1 production financing. Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. And I appreciate you roughing it. You're having to do this from your phone. Your laptop is elsewhere at the moment. So
yeah,
I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that.
What can we do?
What can we do? Well, next time, hopefully, we'll see you in PDAC. And keep us informed. Sounds like it's going well.
Okay. Sounds good, Matthew. Take care. Have a great day. Cheers, man.